Peace. It's your boy Head Rock Pro. Today we're going to be doing a tutorial, actually an example of a pretty good way to get rid of the record lag in Logic Pro and Reason 4 when using the rewire function. This is my first tutorial, so just bear with me. First thing we're going to do is launch Logic Pro in a new empty project. Next, I'll create an external MIDI track. And also I'll create a audio track. Next thing I want to do is I want to launch Reason in rewire mode. So I'll do that by selecting the external MIDI track that I just created. And over here in the library, I'll double click on Reason. That's launch Reason. I'm getting this message right now. I'm actually doing this from home. Don't really have my controller set up to my MacBook Pro or anything like that. This is just a tutorial to show you guys what I'm working with. Alright, so for this tutorial, I'm going to be using the Dr. X loop player for the mere fact that it's very simple, straight to the point. And the same thing will happen if you use any other MIDI-based instrument in Reason while it's rewired to Logic, but Rex files are really easy to work with right now. So I'm going to use the stock sounds in the Reason redrum. This is pretty much the initial patch that comes up with Dr. X. Now to get audio from Reason to go into Logic, I'll have to create an auxiliary channel strip in Logic. That's pretty much going to listen and bring in the audio from Reason into Logic. So let's do that right now. I'm going to select Rewire Mix left and right, and I'll show you why in a second. If you go back to Reason and you flip it over, the outputs of the redrum is going into the hardware device 1 and 2. So that corresponds with the rewire mix left and right, saying that Reason is being rewired into Logic Pro via the channels left and right. Left and right and 1, 2 are synonymous for the most part. You can flip that back around. And you can also make sure that this is working by checking right here on the hardware device. Reason will tell you if it's using its built-in audio, your inbox, your Digio, or if it's going in as a rewire slave. In this case, it is. First, I'd like to audition the audio and set the tempo here to 96. Pretty comfortable right there. Let's audition the audio to make sure the audio will go from Reason 4 into Logic 9 correctly. So let's hit preview. Alright, we see that it does. Next thing I'd like to do is send the Rex data or the MIDI data from the Dr. X loop player for this loop patch to the transport, or actually to the arrange window of Reason. So I'll click on this button right here. A lot of times you'll do this if you have a loop or you have any MIDI data for any of your other MIDI instruments in Reason. If you'd like to use those sounds or that audio in Logic and take advantage of things like flex time, the strip silencing, or even time stretching, this is a good way to get the audio into Reason. So now we'll go ahead and we're going to see how that sounds, make sure it works. Alright, we're good. Now next thing I want to do is I actually want to record the audio from the MIDI data in Reason into an audio track on Logic Pro. So the way I'm going to have to do that is I'm going to have to actually set a bus from the output of the auxiliary channel strip that we created earlier for Reason. Set that to anything you want. You know, as long as it's an open bus, it's an available bus, you can use that. We're going to set it to 1 today. So the output of the auxiliary channel strip that is from the Dr. Rex and region is going to go into the input of the audio track, the corresponding audio track. And we could actually name this Dr. Rex real quick. Keep everything nice and tidy. All right. Next we're going to do is record and enable the track, the audio track. Never do this. Never record audio from your sessions onto your hard drive in your computer or your laptop. I'm going to do it today just for shits and giggles, but never do this. All right, so we're going to record and enable this track, and we're going to hit record and listen very closely to what happens. Watch and listen very closely. This session is set up to have a 4-beat counting or 1-bar counting, and then it's supposed to record the audio data. So let's see what happens when I try that. All right, so as you can see, what happened here was during the counting, the first downbeat of the drum loop, if you see right here, the first downbeat of the drum loop did not record. It was actually played with the first beat or the first downbeat of the counting. That's not what I desire. That's not what I want. So just to audition, I'm going to move this MIDI data out of the way here on the reason side, and I'm going to play back this loop for you real quick. So let's see what happens. Can you hear that? All right, cool. So I'm going to show y'all a quick way to fix that. We're going to go ahead and get rid of this. We're going to delete this audio file because it's something that we don't want. And we're also going to move this MIDI data back over between the loop markers. And this is how you fix this. Go over to settings in Logic. Go over to synchronization. And see right here where it says sync mode, you want to set that to MTC. MTC stands for MIDI time code or MIDI time clock. Reason why you want to set this way is that you want Logic to listen to its client DAWs, or in this instance region rewire. You want Logic to listen to the MIDI time code that's coming out of Reason so they could be in better sync. At least that's how I interpret it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Another thing that happens is once you set this to MTC, Logic's record functions behave similar to that of Pro Tools, and I'll show you what I mean. Right here, if I hit record, record is now enabled, and I have to hit play or have some type of MIDI code going through Logic to actually start recording. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. Alright, so as you see, let's go back again and move the MIDI data out the way so we're not hearing that. We're just going to hear the audio file we just recorded. Alright, so now it seems like this works. Let's see what happens. Alright, so that sounds like it works. You see right here, that first kick of this loop played and recorded perfectly, and so did the rest of the loop. Alright, if you guys have any questions, hit me up. Bear with me, this was my first tutorial. If I wasn't clear about anything, just let me know, and we'll keep moving from there. Peace.